the pocket, looks down the field at Deion Kane, and he collects it for a Clemson touchdown. Clemson in the pocket, shoots it downfield for Kane again, who makes a diving catch for a touchdown. And taking a shot, losing the ball. Clemson's got it. Watson keeps it, pitches it across the middle. Touchdown, Williams! Forsyth out of the backfield, didn't see him and throws a pick. Slant, Scott fights free and walks in. A 1-2 punch from the Tigers.
Whenever Tiger fans hear about Notre Dame in 2015, the first thing that comes to your mind is the rain. And I mean monsoon levels of rain. It rained every day during that week leading up to the game, and it played a huge factor in the game preparation as well.
That was really the talk was, all right, the weather, because everybody had their eye on the weather starting on Monday and knew, okay, what was coming, what the possibilities. The governor, Nikki Haley at that time, she even suggested Clemson shouldn't play. There were other teams that were already calling off games, but Clemson was going to play.
I still remember the governor of South Carolina at the time, Nikki Haley, going, hey, you know what, unless you have to go, don't go. And so there was this curiosity factor about what the game, number one, what it was going to be like, but what was going to be the deal with the weather.
I'm from Texas. I had never owned rain boots, okay? It doesn't rain that much. There's really no need to have rain boots. I had a rain jacket, not rain boots. I thought, well, maybe I should go get some. I went to the Walmart in Central, walked back to the rain boot section, completely gone. Every single pair of rain boots was gone, and that's when you thought, okay, people aren't missing this game. They're gonna come.
We thought we knew what the forecast was gonna be. We thought that there was just gonna be rain, and so that's what we were preparing for. But we didn't know the kind of rain it was gonna be.
This wasn't like a fall rainstorm that came in and produced a couple of inches of rain. I mean, this thing in 4 days produced 20 inches of rain. 20 inches of rain in 4 days. So it had a nice tropical connection with Joaquin, which was a hurricane, a massive hurricane down in the Bahamas. And it was like it was a pump, you know what I mean? Just pumping the hose right over the top of South Carolina. And the resulting flooding on, major rivers, 20 rivers went into flood stage. And this is football in the South. I mean, in the biggest game of the year, one of the biggest games of the year. So people are going to go.
We like to throw the ball around. We like to spread things out. The rain makes that kind of difficult. And so, for us as players, I think offensively it was stressful going into that game.
Yeah, the other storyline in this game is just Notre Dame itself, right? It's the Golden Domes. It's the luck of the Irish. It's Touchdown Jesus. It's Rudy. You've got one of the most historic football programs coming in to play Clemson under the lights in Death Valley. It doesn't get any better than that.
In summer workouts, you have those games circled and games that are important to you. Obviously, going into your last season, they all are, but some mean just a little bit more. And for me, that was Notre Dame. And it was something that I was so excited to play this game. My father's from Indiana. We have a ton of family who either loves or hates Notre Dame. And growing up, my dad wanted me to go and play at Notre Dame. He was a big time fan of them.
Just to build up on this game, they talking about all these players that on the defensive line, they this, they that, best D-line, we don't stand a chance, we don't got this. All this, they got their little gold helmets, we shouldn't have never been on the field with them. That's basically what was said.
I remember a graphic that was, I think, shown in the week and then before the game or during the broadcast where it had the NFL guys or the NFL prospects, and I think there was two on Clemson's list. I think it was Mackenzie Alexander and Shaq Lawson, and Notre Dame's was just forever. It was extensive list, and these guys have no chance. They have absolutely no shot.
Notre Dame and Clemson had a little bit of history, but it went way back to the 70s. And coming into 2015, it was felt that both teams were going to be very good. So the game was certainly going to have a lot of meaning to it.
This 15 year was the beginning of the run where Clemson was going to make it into really the national championship picture, make it into the college football playoffs, win an ACC championship, again, make it to a national championship game. And I think that you can circle that Notre Dame game as being a big piece of that puzzle to give the team the confidence that, that they could do this.
Founders Federal Credit Union is your credit union. We are devoted to serving you through good and bad, and through highs and lows. We are committed to standing by you, our members, our communities, our family. Together, we can persevere through these times. We are your credit union, and we are here for you. Relax with Founders Federal Credit Union.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with Zero Contact Service.
I remember when I was a little girl and maybe I had a tough day at school. I'd go up the stairs to my room and turn on some music because I knew that the music would make me feel a certain way. And with the help of my life scholarship, I was able to major in music performance and bring that healing quality to others. And I get to help them find whatever it is that they're looking for. I get to be a part of that.
Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter.
All the Tiger fans in the stands had sat there basically all day, either getting drenched or had to drive in all of the downpour. And so now it's game time and everybody's thinking, let's get this game going. They were ready to see the Tigers play Notre Dame. This is Notre Dame, a historic school coming into Death Valley, hadn't been there since the 70s. So there was a lot of anticipation and everybody was just tired of the rain. It was time to get the game started. And I think the whole mindset within the stadium was, let's go.
Weather is going to be a factor. Weather is going to change how we call plays, how we throw the ball, how we run the ball, how you block. You have to take different angles because that grass is not dry. It's soaking wet and it might even be a puddle when you're stepping it. So I remember that week of practice, we did so many wet ball drills, as we call it, where you're dumping the football in gallons of water. You're making sure it's almost ungrabbable.
We had the indoor, and a lot throughout the week we stayed outside and we practiced a lot in the rain. They were getting balls super wet just to make sure we were prepared. They knew it was like, it wasn't just going to be rain, it was going to be pouring.
We go ahead, and we got trainers out there and we've got equipment guys out there spraying the ball down with water bottles in between every play. It's super frustrating because I wore gloves.
I felt like the ball was like 100 pounds. I mean, we soaking it every chance that we get. We just really practicing on catching the ball, attacking, doing our normal things, but just playing with a wet ball.
They really just drill into you. Doesn't matter who the opponent is. The standard's the standard. We're going to prepare how we prepare. And so coming junior, senior year, you don't care. And that was my junior year. I was aware, like, it's obviously Notre Dame. It's going to be a big game.
We walk out, we come out of the tunnel, and I can remember it like it was yesterday, looking up in the stands, and these stands were like 3/4 full. I mean, they're an hour early to this football game in this monsoon.
We get in the game and just smack them in the mouth. I mean, we go up 14 quick. It was seemingly easy. You know, everything, again, that we're calling is working. And the physicality, I think, that we were coming with maybe, surprised them a little bit. I think that they were not ready for to get punched in the mouth like they were from us. Our offensive line, I think that was one of the best games that we played in 2015 when you look at just the overall unit and how we seemingly pushed back the line of scrimmage every single play.
Opening kickoff, Artavis Scott goes 32 yards, takes it out to the 36-yard line. The very next play, Deshaun Watson takes off on this long run down the left sideline for, I think, 36. And Clemson, just knocking on the door right away. And it's not much longer that he finds, I think, Jordan Leggett. Left side, Leggett breaks a tackle at about the 2 or 3 yard line, dives into the end zone, and it's a quick 7-0 lead for Clemson.
Watson rolls out, flips it in the flat. Catch me. Jordan Leggett dives for a touchdown.
Up until that point in the season, Deshaun Watson had not run the ball that much. And He was just 10 months removed from a torn ACL. And then the Tigers came right back and scored again on a touchdown pass to Artavis Scott, and all of a sudden it's 14-0.
That's one of the biggest moments in my career. Just this big stage is raining, playing in a hurricane, and as soon as I caught the ball, I see it come. As soon as I catch the ball, I knew I got to brace for impact.
Watson, slam, Scott fights free and walks in. A 1-2 punch from the Tigers, and the Irish on the ropes early.
And all of a sudden it's 14-0, and people have just basically settled in their seats, got their breath, gotten really good and wet by this time, and are settling in for what's going to be the rest of the evening. But Clemson jumped out at that 14-0 lead, and I think that was huge.
If you go watch the Notre Dame game and then you watch any other game where we are offensively, you can see that the game offensively is different, obviously. So I think that added a lot of stress for us offensively.
We jumped out on a big lead. I think we went up 14-0. And at that moment, we kind of think, man, this game over. They playing in the rain. They can't come back. But I think in that time, we just got a little complacent. That's all it was. We just got a little complacent. We messed around on the sidelines a little bit. We laughing, we giggling. But we got to realize, man, it was a 4-quarter game.
Roto-Rooter Zero Contact Service is your assurance that we're putting safety first. On the job, we'll keep a safe distance, wear boot covers, face masks, disposable gloves, and other protective gear. We're following CDC guidelines, washing hands, and disinfecting touch points. And we'll put on fresh gloves before handling your paperwork and credit cards. You can depend on Roto-Rooter to lead the way in safety with Zero Contact Service.
Don't wait for tomorrow. Make the days count. Gatorade has carbs to fuel and electrolytes to help replenish, so you can count on the proven formula. Nothing beats Gatorade.
Clemson's Greatest Games is brought to you by Roto-Rooter. When you need a local plumber fast, call Roto-Rooter.
A 14-3 lead at half. You come out, you're kicking the ball off, so you know that you're going to give Notre Dame the football. You kick it off, but it's not your typical opening kickoff of the second half because Ammon Lacob, the kicker, forced a fumble.
Everybody's freaking out on the sideline, jumping up and down. We fall on it, and then Deshaun Watson enters the game again and just has a tremendous play.
And then all of a sudden, Deshaun takes off past me, and as fast as my little legs could go, I just took off behind him. And he goes and hits it, and I see him hit the dab, and it took everything in me not to just tackle him because I was ecstatic.
Scott in motion. Watson does keep it. It heads to the end zone.
Now you're up 21-3, and you're only, not even a minute into the second half. You're up 21-3. It's raining. You know that Notre Dame's going to probably have a tough time moving the football up and down the field, but that's not the way it would play out. It was like they got down 21-3, and I can remember being in the booth during a timeout midway through the third quarter saying, guys, you know that a run is coming at some point in time.
While Notre Dame has the ball, they seemingly are hitting on all cylinders with these huge chunk plays. I just remember seeing a big-time wheel route, maybe a 50 or 40-yard touchdown to the running back. Then it's 3rd and 18. We're feeling good. Defense is about to get a stop. Boom, 20-yard reception. And so seemingly Notre Dame had all the momentum.
You have to give Notre Dame a lot of credit in that game. You really do, because they stuck in it. Dabo Swinney went a little conservative, which was one of the first times where we really saw him do that in a big game. 3 and out, punt the ball, just try to keep the ball out of their hands as much as possible, run as much time off the clock. And I remember getting very worried when Clemson did not convert that 4th down and gave the ball back to Notre Dame and gave them a chance.
They continue their pass-happy ways. They continue finding big gaping holes in that Clemson secondary, and they're throwing it and they're completing big passes, and they're able to punch it in the end zone. And they get the touchdown that creeps them within 8 points. And you knew that at that point in time, all right, Clemson probably needed to have one more offensive possession where they could take some time off the clock, and they weren't able to do that. So Notre Dame got the ball right back, and that's what made the end of that game so special.
Kaiser throws a fade pattern in the right corner of the end zone to Torrey Hunter.
Kaiser loops it for the end zone. Touchdown! Torrey Hunter Jr. with 7 seconds to play. The Irish are a 2-point.
So now Notre Dame's got to go for 2 to try to tie the game and send it into overtime with just 7 seconds left.
So you can see if you watch the tape, me and BJ, I think it was me and BJ were playing, we start sliding over, anticipating this is going to come, and sure enough, he keeps the ball, and I just freaking run full steam and just plug the hole against Procise, and me and Carlos Watkins stopped him.
Kaiser rolls, runs into traffic, and comes up a yard short.
And just seeing Ben Boulware and Carlos Watkins get up, after they made that game-winning, tackle to stop the two-point conversion, and really just a sigh of relief for me, because again, I'm thinking of all the family members that are going to be talking junk to me, and if I lose this game to Notre Dame.
So there's been a lot of iconic games, historic games in Death Valley, but Clemson beating Notre Dame in a hurricane on a 2-point stop, you can't get much better than that. And I think there was a sense of almost this relief that happened within the stands, because not only relief that the Tigers were able to stop Notre Dame on a 2-point conversion that would have tied the game, I think there was also this sense of we just witnessed some type of historic game, because again, it is Notre Dame, and to be able to stop them the way they did, and was this also somewhat of a coming of age for Clemson? You could see the leadership of Deshaun Watson really starting to form at that time. And I think it just gave a spark, not only to him and his confidence, but obviously to the whole Clemson team and what they were able to do, almost like a launching pad for them for the rest of the season and even seasons beyond.
We're behind people rising to the challenge and neighbors looking after neighbors. We're behind small businesses with big ideas and struggling companies looking towards tomorrow. At First National Bank, we're behind every part of our community. We're working around the clock to ensure you have all the financial guidance and resources you need. And no matter what the future holds, you'll find us right where we've always been, behind you all the way.
So what makes your house a home?
Sitting on the front porch, relaxing at the end of the day.
Hands down, my wife's spaghetti.
A sense of security.
I'd say making it my own.
Playing with my son, definitely.
For whatever makes your house a home, we're here to protect it.
I remember when I was a little girl and maybe I had a tough day at school. I'd go up the stairs to my room and turn on some music because I knew that the music would make me feel a certain way. And with the help of my life scholarship, I was able to major in music performance and bring that healing quality to others. And I get to help them find whatever it is that they're looking for. I get to be a part of that.
This is one of Clemson's greatest games because of a number of reasons. The rain and the weather that everyone had to survive to win, the incredible 2-point conversion stop at the end, a very iconic moment. You beat a historical football program with Notre Dame so that they could go on their historic run to the national championship game.
Anytime anybody tells me that well, the crowd's going to be held down because of the weather this coming weekend. Well, I just kind of smiled at myself. Well, you sure came to that Notre Dame game in 2015, as everybody was there. The place was packed right up until the last moment.
I will never forget it. I've never been more wet in my life for a football game. Took you 3 days to dry out. And even if you didn't go to the game, you told your buddies, hey, you know what? I was in Death Valley that night when Notre Dame came to town. It was just an epic football game.
The image that everyone remembers from that game is the Ben Boulware somersault. I don't know how he had the wherewithal or what he was doing. I'm sure it was more of an out-of-body experience for him, just celebrating. But they get the stop, he somersaults, everyone rushes the field.
Everyone thinks your somersault was so cool. No, I tripped. I almost fell on my face and I just recovered, but everyone thought it was a somersault, but I tripped.
It was my job to go down and get and transcribe Brian Kelly's press conference. So I go in there, there's a lot of, reporters. I'm just wearing, I don't know, my Clemson polo or whatever. I obviously look like a student. And I go in there and I'm recording his comments and then I'm gonna go type them up. And he opened his press conference by saying, here at Notre Dame, we are too mature of a program to come down here to Death Valley and lose to Clemson. And I just thought, the way he said it, it just communicated to whoever was watching it or listening to him that he felt like Notre Dame was that much superior of a program.
Television shows Coach Sweeney kind of kneeling down and his head's down and he's covering his head, and you can tell he's really emotional. Well, that game really meant a lot to him because his father had just passed away the previous August. And I always remember him telling me that that was one game he really wanted to see that year was the Notre Dame game, because when he was younger, Notre Dame was the preeminent school of college football. And then as an Alabama fan, Alabama had played Notre Dame 4 times when Bear Bryant was the coach. And Notre Dame beat him all 4 times. Bear Bryant never beat Notre Dame. So to see his son to coach against Notre Dame and then to beat Notre Dame, Dabo realized, that his father was looking down, but he also, I think in his heart, really wished his father could have been there that night and seen that accomplishment.
So Clemson has survived the 2-point conversion, beaten Notre Dame, survived all the weather of the week. And at this point in 2015, the post-game speeches that Dabo would give on ESPN after some of these big wins, that had become kind of a part of Clemson Nation. And everyone always looked forward to what Dabo was going to say. He saved the best speech he's ever given for this game.
So that was as part of a biggest part of the post-game as anything was another Sweeneyism had broken forth and began life and started to grow from there.
Our team, that's what it's all about. It ain't always perfect, but what I told them tonight was, listen, we give you scholarships, we give you, stipends and meals and a place to live. We give you nice uniforms. I can't give you guts, and I can't give you heart. And tonight, hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts. And they brought some guts and some heart, and they never quit till the last play.